And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owen, General Manager at WEIU TV. Brand new co-host today, Michelle Bravo. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, thank you.
So we look forward to having you. We have a lot of people in the studio if you're watching on TV today. We have Dr. Heidi Larson.
Hi, thank you.
We have Rylee, Lorton.
Hi.
And I'm going to try to get this right. Malak, Mahlaoui.
Hi, yes.
Close enough? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're from the Freshman Connection here at Eastern Illinois University, and Dr. Larson is the lead on that. And so if you don't know what the Freshman Connection is, why don't we just give some background and we'll get into some details.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, Freshman Connection / transfer students, because we actually serve both populations here at EIU.
Okay.
And they're absolutely, the program is for any freshman, any transfer student. They're paired with a mentor, like one of these ladies, and they have 15 meals a week, or 15 meals in the semester, once a week, with these mentors that help them just navigate university life, whether that's fiscal responsibility, if that's social issues, if that's academic. They're just there to sort of help them in this new opportunity and really create a culture here at EIU that feels welcoming and like home.
Where did the idea come from? I want to start there. I mean, did you come up with it, or through some of your work, or how'd that happen?
Yeah. So in 2013, I started a program called Bionic. Believe it or not, I care at Mattoon High School, which is a mentoring program that serves 4 different subpopulations of the high school. And Josh Norman and I met to talk a little bit about, could this be a possibility here at EIU? What would it look like? And we have an amazing collaborative team with Jody Stone, Mona Davenport, that we all come together and just brainstormed and thought about, man, this would be amazing for students who come to this campus to really help them just make this the best experience we could.
Michelle?
Yeah, so is there like any requirements to be a mentor?
Yeah, that's a great question. We did a pilot, and basically the freshmen that were on campus said, we really want sophomores, because my idea was to do a junior or senior, someone who's kind of got some, experience, and they're like, no, they're too far away from being a freshman because they'll forget what it's like. And so what we ask is that students are willing to meet with their freshmen or transfer students once a week for the semester, and then we have a monthly meeting at 7 a.m. And so just think about these ladies come to Buzzard at 7 a.m. Just for us to sort of all get together and work through some challenges, issues, and really to support them. And those are really the 2 largest commitments. And then there's a summer leadership program that they spend about 7 hours with us, just being trained on how to work with other people and communication skills and taking initiative, those things. So,
Rylee and Malak, you can both answer this. Being a mentor in this program, what are your initial thoughts of your involvement in this?
So I've been a mentor now for 3 years. I was there for the pilot year, and when I first started, I just saw it as an opportunity to kind of give back. I remember being a little lost my freshman year, and I was excited for the opportunity to help somebody else not feel so, all alone. Now in my 3rd year, I realize a lot of times they do come with a general understanding, and they're already pretty well off, but watching them grow throughout the semester is really nice, and watching them kind of become their little college version of themselves is really nice. So,
Malak?
I was actually class of 2020, so I came here and I was a mentee during the pilot program, and I wanted to become a mentor because I love what my mentor did for me freshman year, especially being class of 2020. Like, it was really hard to meet new people. Everyone was wearing a mask. I didn't really know anybody when I came to EIU, so having that 1 meal a week, I actually connected with people, and then one of the people in my group actually turned out to be my roommate. So
Really?
Yeah.
Now, do you stay in touch with all the people that you've mentored? I mean,
yeah, definitely. I still see them on campus. We still FaceTime over the summer and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's neat.
I'll say I still keep in touch with all my mentees. One of my best friends, she was actually the first year I was a mentor. She was one of my mentees, and we just got really close. And we have dinners every 3-4 times a week at one of our places. So.
I'd like both of you to answer another question. When it comes to if you have a freshman or a mentor, or a freshman and you're trying to mentor, but they're just really struggling in terms of coming out of their shell. Is there? And I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it. Tricks of the trade to kind of get them to talk. And Dr. Larson, you can obviously hone in as well. I mean, when you think about that?
I would say there's 2 things. They give us a resource pack, which is things that we can ask them and they like to talk about. But also I feel like talking to someone who's supposed to be your mentor that's not in your immediate circle, you're actually more comfortable, from what I've noticed, to talk to them rather than asking just a random person on campus where this person is here to serve me and I know I can come to them for anything.
That's a great answer. So.
I'll say I have a different, every year I've had somebody that's a little quieter than the rest, and so I'm a big believer in just open communication, so I pull them to the side, and I kind of ask them like, hey, is it, because I know I'm a loud person. I talk a lot in these meetings.
I get that some.
So I just kind of ask them like, hey, what can I do to make you more comfortable? And like just that one-on-one, usually they start coming around a little bit more, realizing I'm not just here to mark something off a list, that I'm here for them, and that typically kind of opens them up a little bit more.
Heidi, I can see why you brought these two ladies with you. You got to be so proud when you hear these answers.
I am. I'm super proud. And I actually think that the feedback we receive when mentors are in the training, that they'll say on the continuums like introversion, extroversion, like, I'm kind of quiet, but I want to develop that. I want to take more initiative and foster some better leadership and communication skills. So I feel like that's one of the best benefits of the mentors, that they get to grow interpersonally and they're supported. We have 5 GAs, Jess Meadows, and we have Min Lee, we have Rebecca McGee, and Corbin Roth, and then Kendra Bierman, and those 5 are their mentors. So it's really a cool tier system that people are supporting each other, just becoming their best selves. So yes.
Michelle?
So is there like a number of students that you guys have, or is it just like capped off to like, I don't know, let's say like 10 students a year?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I brought the numbers because I'm like, I don't know if I'll remember this. So we actually have 245 freshmen currently in the program on campus, and then we have 67 transfer students and 2 international students. This is the first year that we've opened it to international students because we had such a increase.
Yeah, the numbers are going up in that department.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so they too need support. So this year we have some international mentors, and so that they're helping these students, and so it's really exciting.
That was one of my questions. I didn't know how does Eastern offer this to freshmen? Is it in their packet, or when they first come here? Is it, because it's not mandatory that they have to get involved with Freshman Connection, but how does Eastern work with them?
Yeah, so I'll share what we try to do marketing. You guys can tell me how you maybe heard about it. So we send out obviously some marketing for students who enroll in EIU or apply, but then also like open houses, freshman orientation. We're there with a table, sort of sharing information. In addition to that, the 5 GAs teach a section of the University Foundations course, and they also are helping spread the word. So we're trying to do it multiple ways, and even as a result of this opportunity, perhaps there'll be interest in students saying, I didn't know, I'd like to be involved. So,
any other thoughts on that?
The way I learned about it is I went to like this EIU conference for like incoming freshmen, and they had the Freshman Connection sign up, and I was like, what is that? And they were like, oh, you meet with the meal once a week. And then my mom was like, you're gonna do that? I'm gonna sign you up. And then I actually loved it.
Rylee?
So I was never a mentee, but my freshman year, at the end of it, I saw an email go out about wanting potential mentors, and I looked into the program a little bit, started asking around, and whenever I found it, I talked to my mentees as soon as I got them. And I know for a fact one of my mentees from last year, he's an orientation leader now, and I guess every one of his open houses, he'd be like, hey guys, like, this is my mentor, because I was working there on campus too, and he did his own little pitch for us. So I know a lot of the mentees that like really get on well with the program, they kind of do their own, like, oh, I had a great experience, so that's nice too.
Like, I know one of the things I remember going back being a freshman, maybe Michelle, you do too, is, test anxiety. And I know you've done some research in that. So does the mentees get involved? I mean, the mentors get involved with your mentees on test anxiety? Because, I mean, it's not happening yet, but here in a couple of weeks, the first quizzes and tests start here.
Yeah, I think Malak mentioned the resource pack. So our goal is to help them be as equipped as possible with all the resources, because they don't know where to go get, some tutoring perhaps, maybe what the counseling center is, and even something small that like I take for granted. They don't always know how to email a professor. They don't know what the office hours mean, that they could go receive help. So we try lots of different ways to mitigate some of their presenting concerns, which clearly is testing as well. So I don't know if you guys.
No, I mean, do they bring up test anxiety? I mean,
yeah, that happened last year when I was a mentor. I told them we're going to work through this together because I have test anxiety as well. So what we would actually do is we would actually meet up, because we were in the same chemistry class. So we'd actually meet up and like study together. And then I realized like when we both did that, our test scores actually both went up and helped relieve both of our anxiety. So.
Really?
My mentees last year didn't bring it up, but especially around test times, I kind of reach out to them and I say like, hey, who has tests going on various weeks? And then I ask them how they're doing in their classes, but especially around midterms. I sit down with them, and even if they don't necessarily bring it to me, I bring up the conversation of test anxiety and proper study time. And anytime, I do it a lot more casual than like a designated time to meet up. But I tell them like, hey, I'm in booth library, I'm studying from here to here, feel free to join. And then around midterms and finals, I do kind of sit down with them. I'm like, all right, if you guys want, this is where we are. I'll bring snacks. And it's worked pretty well all my years, so.
There you go.
Is there like a specific way in which you pair the people, or is it just like the luck of the draw?
Yeah,
Good question. You're doing all right, Michelle. First show. I'm proud of you, kid.
Yeah, so on the application, students, the mentees, get to choose. So they tell us like what are their interests, what's their major, their mealtime preference. That's a big one. Like, do they want breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night pizza? So we try to match with those items that they highlight through their application. So, because we want a good match, we want them
Right.
to find a good.
Now, do you have more than one semester, or do you try to match it up on? I mean, for as being a mentor, do you have more than one mentee, or how's that work?
Oh yeah, I have 8 right now.
8?
Yeah.
I've had 4 every other year. This year I have 6.
Oh, really? Okay. And then is there a cost or involved or with that at all with freshmen?
Yeah, it's actually free,
Okay.
and we're blessed that the university with Josh Norman that they actually pay for the meals. So mentors receive, it's actually 16 meals. I think I said 15 earlier. They receive 16 meals, and then each student who's involved gets a free meal per week, and so they meet in one of the resident halls.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, is it only at the beginning of the semester? Can they? Can a freshman hears about this now? Can they join all along the freshman year? How's that work?
Yeah, so we're definitely open. If they hear about this program through this opportunity, they're welcome to join. The applications on EIU. If you just search EIU Freshman Connection, they'll find the application. We're always looking for mentors, so anyone who wants an opportunity to grow in their own leadership and communication, they also can apply through that. And the database updates every week, so
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good because I mean some people might a freshman struggles for a few weeks or months on campus and they find this, it might be something that could really help them. I would think because there's so much going on right now. And the other part of it is we had COVID, and so I know mental health is part of your background in education. So what is the mental health aspect? Is there signs that you look for to make sure that our EIU freshmen and really any new student here is not suffering from any mental health issues?
Yeah, it's a great question. I agree with you. I think that as a culture, I think we're a little more aware, and that's a blessing,
yeah.
right? And I also think that relationships help. So as you can tell, these two ladies really create an opportunity for people to be close, to share, and so when they see something that's concerning, or the freshman might share that I'm feeling depressed, or I'm not going to class, I'm worried I'm going to fail out, they certainly could help advise the student to go to the counseling center and reach out to advisors, or they can ask the GA supervisors or myself. They all have my cell phone number they can call. But we just really like that point-to-point contact, that if there's any support that we can offer, we would like to do that and just help.
Your thoughts, Malak and Rylee, on that?
Yeah, I think definitely people are having mental health issues, but I think the Freshman Connection program really helps because, like, I think the first step is talking about it, and I think that's, like I said earlier, where it's a safe place where you don't have to talk to someone, which is like in your immediate circle, so it's like you can actually say what you're feeling without the fear of being judged or anything like that.
Yeah, I think student to student is so good just for the fact that sometimes, us scary older people are harder to talk to, or they think we're going to go tell on you, where you guys can really, enjoy that conversation and then move forward. Rylee, agree or disagree or what?
Yeah, like I said, I kind of have I try to make a laid-back environment with my mentees, and so a lot of open communication. I've had both sides of it where I've noticed some concerning things in a mentee, and I brought it to my supervisor at the time. She was awesome, handled it really well, and helped me to give her the resources necessary. And then last year, I had a mentee going through a breakup, and he was able to come to me and just kind of talk with me about it. And I think a lot of that, like, I tell them all the time, like, hey, if you've got something going on, just tell me, and like I'll make sure to, I always offer a warm drink and a warm meal. And so I think a lot of it is just that communication, being able to talk to somebody that understands, because I tell them too, I'm like, hey guys, I had a rough day, like I need 15 more minutes before the meeting. So that kind of communication I think helps them a lot.
I know you guys had already kind of like mentioned a little bit of some of the skills that you get, but like how do you like list this on your resume? Like what are some like key, skills that you put on there?
So I'm already working on resumes. I'm a senior. And so one big thing that I put is just leadership and development. I write down that it's a mentor program, and try to usually, like, in a little paragraph at the bottom, write about like the fact that it's what I've done, because it's easy to just say, like, oh, mentorship, but talking about all my experiences, just summing them up. That's kind of how I list it.
Very similar for me as well. I also, they give, at the end of our leadership training she was talking about in the semester, she gives us a certificate, and I also put that on there as well.
That's cool.
Do you try to get, I mean, Heidi, you may have talked this about at the beginning, but do you get everybody together a couple times of the semester and go over, like, you know, the status with the mentors and then with the mentees as well, or do you do them, you know, collectively?
Yeah, it's a couple ways. So
Okay.
one, we meet every month at 7 a.m.
That's the okay.
Yeah, so every month we
a lot of
meet.
stuff going on.
Yeah, so we're all together.
Yeah.
And currently we have 44 mentors and
Yeah.
then the 5 GAs. So
There's 50 of you,
of us
yeah.
come together. But also we ask the supervisors to do exactly what we want the mentors to do. So the supervisors are having point-to-point contact with them. So via text, we'll actually be evolving into one-on-one meetings. So the GA will go out with each mentor and have a cup of coffee and just say, like, how are you doing? Because we want to take care of them too and not,
Yeah.
you know, make sure that they feel supported. In addition to that, the supervisors will go to their meals. So 2 meals a week, so they're going to be attending, and I want the supervisors to also connect with the freshmen. So if we can open up their opportunity for connections and community, there's more resources for them. And so there's multiple ways that we get together and connect.
What is the initial response of the 2 international students so far about how they feel about Eastern? That fascinates me a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think the mentors are super excited to have an opportunity to provide mentorship. The visa thing, we had more than 2 enrolled in the program, but as you know, sometimes the visas fall through and there's some concerns. But I think just, you know, for some, it's their first time on U.S. soil, right? And so not to mention all of the university expectations. So really providing, I liked when you said, Rylee, it's like just providing a smile and a meal and just a connection without any expectations. So that's really what we're hoping. And then from there, each student will have their own essential needs. And so we're hoping.
Have either of you had international students?
I have not.
Okay. I just always wanted the insight there. So, Michelle?
Is there like any like new ways that you guys are gonna try and market? Because I do feel like when I was a freshman, I didn't really hear about that. So like, it would have been nice to at least like know someone initially, because you know I was coming from Chicago, so like I didn't know anybody out here. So.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I feel like, so we ask mentees, like, what's the best way to reach you, right? Because it's always evolving. Like, what social media? Are they checking email? Are they, you know, so we get information based on application to EIU, or if they show interest in EIU, that's when the mailings start, that's when the connections. And then if they come to campus, we're trying to be at all the places where they are to connect. But it's an area of growth for sure. I mean, we would ideally, I hope no one gets upset with me, but ideally I would love it to offer every freshman, every transfer student, if they would like this program, that they could take part in it.
Do you guys host like tabling events, or is it just like through like digital media?
Yes, we do tabling events like orientation, new student. Tomorrow, Pantherpalooza. We an hour or so. So like it's just another way that mentees had suggested last year. Like that would have been good. You would be on the list. So we'll be at the table tomorrow from 2 to 5. So and then. Rebecca Maley, who is involved in housing, so she works for Jody Stone. She is also helping with resident halls. So like there's 3 primary freshman dorms or resident halls. She's really doing some awesome marketing there as well. So.
Rylee and Malak, as you talk to Eastern students over the years, is there a common theme of what Eastern students want to know about and talk about and ask?
From our mentees, not necessarily. I've gotten different questions all the time. You gotta also remember we're getting all kinds of different like backgrounds and like upbringings. I've got some mentees from the Chicago area and some like me from really small towns, and they always have different questions. I had one girl, my now best friend, she was from Utah when she came in, so she was like, "What's Illinois like?"
Flat.
Right. I was like, "Imagine corn." So I get different questions every time. You might have a different answer.
Yeah, I get different questions from people, just like you said, from people from different areas. But one thing I've noticed is just like, what is there to do in Charleston outside of campus? What to expect? What teachers should I take? What teachers should I avoid? You know, just like inside scoop you can't find unless like you know someone who knows.
But I think it's interesting that you both said, you know, that there's not a common theme. So that actually makes the mentorship a little bit more difficult, right? Because you just can't hand them a packer, you know, they need to know this. It's going to evolve. I mean, you said something before we went on the air. You didn't know that this existed down here. And I think that's part of Eastern. Sometimes our problem is we don't get out of our little silos enough and explore the university and all the different things that we have here. So just, you know, a little bit of insight there. So it's interesting that you both said that.
That's
Yes.
one really fun thing that I like. The first week, I kind of make sure that they're comfortable with it, of course. But I try to get everyone together and like meet outside of my meetings. And one thing that I like to do when it's still warm outside, that's very important. We get our meals, we get them to go, and then I take them out to Lake Charleston.
Okay.
And just like show them around Fox Ridge. We always try to do a little bit more, but it gets cold or schedules get busy. But yeah, I love showing them around Charleston because I did forget that is the only common question.
Okay, that's interesting. Is it tough to get EIU students to open up and talk for that initial meeting, or are most of them down here because they know that it's college and new experience and they want to talk?
The first meeting, it's just like, I feel like everyone doesn't want to say the wrong thing. But then once as the semester goes on, it's like we can just talk about anything. Like once we had like a 2-hour conversation about the development of trains. It was just like...
The development of trains.
I have not had that experience. Not my freshman. The first year I was doing this, so my sophomore year, I came in expecting to be really professional. I had my binder ready. I'm ready for a great day, and they start talking about tattoos and spaghetti, I think. And I was sitting there, I was like, so, homesickness. And we did not get to the conversation that day because they were really interested in tattoos. And so, yeah, I've never had the problem of them not wanting to talk. Sometimes getting my freshmen back on task is more the difficult question.
No, that's good. So, Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden gems at Eastern. Like, for some reason, I never knew about like the Panther shuttle. I would just see it like riding around, but I didn't know like what the like course was or anything. So, and I always had my own car, but like I think that that's something that's like interesting for freshmen to have if they don't have a car, or just anyone in general.
It's an interesting story. It was not this past winter, but the winter before. We had significant snow and everything closed down. We actually had a mentee arrive on the train, and there was no public transportation. They did not have they didn't have a car, and so they called their mentor and said, "What am I to do?" And then it led to the GA supervisor, and so we went and got them so that they could get back to EIU. So, I think our goal is to just provide help, and sometimes unforeseen areas like we didn't have in our course pack of resources, like what happens if you are stranded or we have bad weather, and I'm like, let's add that you can call and reach out to us for sure.
Heidi, do you have like goals for this program? I know you said you've got the initial numbers and you want to get every freshman involved, but how do you stack the goals up?
Yeah, so Josh Norman is the great mind behind all the data. So
you're giving him way too much credit.
He does a fantastic job. And so what we watch is freshmen who are involved in the program, freshmen who are not. So what we're looking at is retention, grade, how their grade performance, and we're actually succeeding around 5% greater than the population not involved for freshmen. But for transfers, really where we're hitting the ball at the park, it's around 18%. Oh. So transfer students who get into this program do like an amazing job. And I think it comes down to, I would say, the relationship. Like you could tell these ladies are they're creating opportunities for people to feel like they're cared for. And in December, all freshmen in the program get a chance to reshuffle. So let's say you wanted a male mentor, or maybe you wanted a new group because you already met these 5 or these 8. And last year, I think we had under 10 that wanted to reshuffle. Like they all wanted to stay right where they were. So just speaks volumes about what they're really receiving from the mentors, which is the ultimate goal. It's just to create a relationship.
Then how does your program differ from like the regular EIU counseling services?
Yeah, so the counseling services is where they might want to get specific individual and group counseling. So maybe they're having issues of anxiety, like you mentioned with test, or maybe they're having depression, so they would go to those services and get a personal counselor, and they can work with them on what are the symptoms, how things are going. These guys, as the mentors, what I foresee is they take off some of the responsibility and some of the amount or burden.
The course load,
Yeah, because they're helping facilitate some of that loneliness and homesickness and wanting to make friends. They're really helping mitigate some of those sort of issues where I think in the past those students would have sought out services because they're not sure how to go.
That's okay. That's right. When you think about these a new program like this, and you see the initial success, I see you should see your eyes light up when you both are talking. It's kind of cool to see. Is it where you wanted it to be in the first few years, or has it surpassed it?
It actually started off slow because we were thinking about it in the spring of 20, never anticipating COVID.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So then when we launched it in the fall of 20, we're like, oh my gosh, what is this going to look like, and how are we, and people were scared and people were masked, and I think, just that connection. And so I think even last year it was challenging at times because socially, right, people
Yeah.
are struggling coming together and needing a little bit more encouragement and support. So as far as numbers today, like super excited. I'm really optimistic. We had the meet and greet is the Sunday before school opens. So it's
Yeah.
kind of the great reveal. You get to meet your mentor for the first time, and we had 68 people register on site.
Oh, wow.
It was never anticipated. So that was really exciting. It was a little bit of mayhem and chaos.
A lot of mayhem.
But it was awesome to see that students really want and are seeking out some support.
And you said you're a senior?
Yes,
And-
sir.
or you're not, right?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
You're a junior. So, I mean, when you know that she's going to be leaving you, that's the worst part of being at Eastern. And I have the same way when they leave us. I mean, when you think about losing somebody like Rylee, I mean,
Yeah, she's going to be really difficult to replace, and I think it's the ongoing relationships, right? Like that's above and beyond anything we could have expected. That you'd be friends and actually create, a best friend situation. So our hope is that she continues to touch lives of these mentees, that they want to come in because they emulate some of the freshmen who come in and want to be a mentor. They're either coming in because they didn't have the greatest experience, and so they want to offer something greater or better, or they're coming in because it was exactly what they needed and it was special and they want to give that.
we have a couple minutes left. We're talking with folks from the Freshman Connection. Anything that I forgot, Heidi, that you want to get out, like maybe the best way to contact involvement or anything?
Yeah, I say just search EIU homepage. There's a video, there's applications, there's background information. I think for mentors, it's really an opportunity at the sophomore level, junior, senior, on up, just to really grow and to do something maybe a little out of your comfort zone, but it will help you professionally.
Rylee, Malak, any other thoughts of the program that you want to express today here at WEIU?
I'm really grateful for it. I feel like it's helped me in ways that I didn't even consider when I initially applied. But now reflecting over the last year, I'm like, wow, I would have never been able to sit and talk in front of a camera before, but those leadership skills really have blossomed me in a way. So it's definitely worth applying.
Rylee?
Honestly, I'm just really grateful for my connections that I've made through it. I know it's mostly for the freshmen to kind of connect with somebody on campus. So I wouldn't have really guessed that I would have met my best friend there, or, I see Leo walking around and I get really excited. Like seeing my people walk around which is awesome, and I am still in contact with them. So
Cool.
I'm really grateful for them and the opportunities that this program has given me to meet them.
All right, let's find out some silly stuff, the last 50 seconds. All right, favorite movie. We'll go right down the order. Michelle, you can answer these two. For favorite movie, Rylee?
Finding Nemo.
I'm going to say, just watched it, Dirty Dancing.
Space Jam.
I feel like those are like such hard questions to answer because it's like you never just have one favorite. And I can't even think of one right now.
All right. Favorite, okay, I won't ask that one, that same thing. Do you use meditation ever to kind of relax?
Yeah, sometimes. Only whenever I'm
No, it's fine.
trying to sleep.
Yeah, daily.
Yes, meditation, yoga, and journaling.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like journaling. I think that was like something that I got into like last year that was like really like, I don't know, it just helped because like you're writing things out and just kind of just like getting rid of that energy. But
Yes or no, real quick, coffee.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
yes, I have one outside right now.
4 out of 5 on that one. All right, thanks so much for y'all being here. Sounds like you got a new program, Freshman Connection here at Eastern Illinois University. Thank you all. Have a great day.